Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another episode of Sports with SoSo. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast on all streaming platforms and following us on social media as we continue to bring you the latest in sports. Coming to you live from CIC Miami, y'all. This week, another dope episode. We got our boy Jesse joining us to talk UFC 264. We jump into the NBA Finals to give you a quick recap. We also jump into the world of soccer with that crazy finals in two big leagues. And of course, we wrap it up with the British Open to see who gets their golf on in the Euros. Man, it's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. Yo, what a crazy weekend, my G.
Tell me about it, bro.
We had a great time at Grills, dog. Let me tell you.
I'm glad we recorded a lot of it because if not, I don't know. If
you wouldn't remember it?
I don't know, dog. It was a lot of beers flowing.
After about that second picture, it was like, well, we're in for a long one tonight, boys. Hope everybody's ready to hear this.
Yeah,
and trust me, you guys are going to get that real soon, man. Real soon.
But it was a great time, bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Grails, Eddie, the whole staff. You guys were working your asses off that night. We saw the effort, and we appreciate everything you guys did for us and the people who came to check out the podcast. We had a really good turnout, bro.
Dude, the building was packed when we got there, and the line never died down.
It did not.
The line was still like crazy long, like halfway through the
for
night.
Real,
and then
for
towards
real.
The end of the night, you know, the only thing that sent everybody home was that crazy tropical storm that came through at the end of the night.
Yo,
I don't know how that happened.
That was nuts. When I stepped outside for 2 seconds, and it was like, all right, let's start packing it up. And it was like,
nope.
Torrential downpour. And I was like, well, we're not taking shit outside because all of this stuff was very expensive.
Yeah, we just drank some more beer.
Yeah, man, that was pretty much the plan, right? But the event was dope, right? The atmosphere was amazing at Grills. The food was dope. Obviously, the drinks did their job, right? Because it allowed us to have an even better time. And I don't know, man. I feel like the UFC event in itself was definitely entertaining, and I'm sure our boy Jesse would agree with us, right? Because it was one of those things that if you watched it and paid for it, you definitely got your money's worth.
Yeah, and now we should welcome to the show Jesse. He's a huge UFC advocate, one of my closest friends, and I respect everything he has to say about UFC. So, Jesse, how's it going, bro?
Hey, it's going good, guys. Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to be here for sure. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the sport, so I wish I could be there present with you guys physically, but for now, this first time, this will do.
Yeah, no
doubt,
doggy. We'll get you in here in the studio at some point, maybe for the next UFC.
The good thing about being at CIC Miami, bro, is that they give us the space to do whatever we want in here. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yep.
Me and Joel got a 4-square corner set up. You guys can't see it, but it goes down whenever we're taking a break. We got tremendo box ball action in here.
We just forgot the ball today. That's the problem.
Hey, Jesse, let me ask you a question, bro. Let's start off before we get to the main event, which obviously everybody went to see, right? Everybody was in the building for that one. The fights under that main event were pretty exciting too, bro. But I wanted to get your take on the first one of the night between Sean O'Malley and Chris Moutinho. O'Malley came in as a big favorite, right, Jay? Like, everybody was hyped up about O'Malley to see what he was going to do on his way back. And I don't know about you, bro, but his punches look extra weak to me when he was trying to hit Chris. Well, he did hit Chris with all those shots.
I disagree. I don't think his punches looked as weak as Moutinho's face just looked that much stronger than O'Malley's punches, man, because that kid took a beating and he was relentless. He just kept coming back for more. And that fight kind of ended in a controversial fashion. I know we were talking about it that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. I was going to say, with O'Malley, he definitely had the volume and strikes. There wasn't a whole lot of pop into him, but he was definitely landing them pretty flush. But I think that what we took out of that fight, all in all, is that Chris Moutinho debuted, and really that guy is a juggernaut. The only other person I can think that has done something like that, where they're getting punched in the face and they're still coming straight at you, is probably Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
Probably the only person that comes into mind that is gonna hunt you down, whether you're in 5 rounds or 99 rounds. The guy looked like he had no brakes in his car, and really, unfortunately that fight ended a little early with Herb Dean ending that fight a little early, 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, man. I felt like And a lot of people are like, oh, but the punishment that he was taking and shit like that throughout the fight. I was like, man, listen, he already went into that octagon knowing that it was going to be a war because he knew he didn't have the advantage in the striking because O'Malley is quicker, better. You know, he's just a better striker than Chris could be. But his heart was definitely bigger than Sean O'Malley's heart because he did not get tired throughout the fight. He kept coming forward. He was throwing blows and really connecting sometimes with simple combos, but effective combos, and he never looked to take the fight to the ground or anything like that. It was a super, super duper impressive, super, super duper, by the way, impressive debut because I feel like he just earned himself another 3-fight contract after this.
And part of that was part of the reason why I was, defending Herb Dean, who I'm a huge fan of. He was the referee for that fight. And he was the one that pulled, that pulled them apart, that kind of stopped it with those 28, 29 seconds and some change, whatever. And I was saying, he's a guy, he's a ref for the fighters, he's there to protect those guys. And I think he had seen enough. He had seen Moutinho take enough damage and enough abuse, and that fight was already won by O'Malley. And, he's there to protect the fighters and make sure that they're there to be able to fight another day. Now, can you argue that, hey, those last 28 seconds, anything could have happened? I mean, yeah, just look at the heavyweight fight between Greg Hardy and Tui or I forget his name.
Tuivasa
or something like that. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like that fight right there, you got a guy like Greg Hardy who was an aggressor initially. He was pushing the pace, and it looks like he had something early on, and then all of a sudden, just a wild errant punch from Tui, he just knocked him out. So I guess that's the argument, is to letting them play it out. Those 30 seconds, is you never know what you're going to get, but we're definitely going to see a lot more of Chris Moutinho.
I think for Sean, if he's really serious about fighting a guy like Peter Yan, getting into a ring with a Max Holloway or any one of those contenders that he was calling out, he's going to have to step up his game big time, real big time, because like I said, a lot of those shots, they felt like they were ineffective. Granted, Chris obviously has a stone face, right? But any normal fighter would have probably gone down in those circumstances, and Chris stood up. So that could mean that Chris obviously has a tough chin, but Sean definitely doesn't have that same knockout power that people thought he had,
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to point this out as well. I don't know if you guys noticed, but towards the end of the second and the third round, O'Malley kept kind of taking some deep breaths and looking up at the clock. And, that's not a typical behavior when you're winning the fight. That typically means that, you might be a little tired. You've thrown some volume strikes. You're hitting this guy in the face and he's still coming at you. And again, yeah, there's 30 seconds left, but that guy looks like he had another 8 rounds in him. So
easy.
Again, the sport is unforgiving, and things happen at any moment, as we all seen in a bunch of different fights in the past. So yeah, it's a little disappointing when you compare some of the fights that Herb Dean has refereed in the past. For example, the first one that pops up into my head is that Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald bloody back.
And I was gonna mention Robbie Lawler because that's one of the guys that when you mentioned people walking forward, bloody face, in that particular fight between those two guys, that guy they both kept coming at each other, even though they were both like mauled. It was crazy.
That's right.
Yo, I think, again, like that fight left a lot more questions for Sean O'Malley than it did for Chris. Chris is definitely going to get another fight and another opportunity to prove himself. Sean O'Malley's going to have to be real careful with who he fights next because I don't see it being as like a dominant performance that he had against Chris. And to kind of like piggyback on something you said earlier, Jesse, the next 2 fights were first-round knockouts, and we got our definite money's worth there. Irene Aldana, she knocked out Yana Kinvisiaka. I got that one right again.
I like that.
Yeah. And again, Irene looks like she was the real deal because she caught her with some serious hooks. And I'm glad that Ty got the fight of the night knockout bonus or whatever, because Joel mentioned that he had gotten like a little stumbled, but it was more like a weird punch that hit him on the top of the head. I think he caught Hardy coming forward, like square in the mouth. And sometimes that's the easiest way to knock somebody out, bro.
Well, I think he caught him on the side of the face, like right in the jugular.
Like right here, right?
No, it was like more on the side, like by the ear. It was like a weird punch that he threw. He just kind of flailed one out there, and it rocked Hardy.
That's heavyweight shit, bro.
I called it.
Well, one thing too is the ones that are going to knock you out are the ones you don't see coming. And I don't think Hardy saw that one coming. If you look at the replay on that fight, he caught him. He caught him with a shot and kind of wobbled him a little. Tuivasa is, this guy's a veteran. That guy he's a real deal, as you saw with that counter. But, when you look at that replay, opinion, I don't think Hardy even saw that punch coming.
No
it
shot.
Almost stuck it air, give him a little rigor mortis KO there.
Yeah.
So, again, props to both those guys because they just went out there to knock each other's heads off their shoulders. So
for sure,
that was exciting.
Let me ask you guys a question. You particularly, Jesse, because Joel and I talked about it on Saturday night. Greg Hardy, he's gone to like a real high class jiu-jitsu school now or program, whatever that he's at.
Is he fighting out of the top team?
Yeah, and he's like obviously he's working on his game, but you can tell that when he's in the octagon, he's just looking like for the knockout. He's not looking for anything else. He's not trying to work his opponent. He's not trying to game plan for his opponent. He just looks like a bull looking at red and wants to go forward. You think that shit's going to last for him? Because I feel like if he gets knocked out once more, I feel like that's the end of his UFC contract.
Yeah, that's a great observation. I think that Hardy is more of like a seek and destroy type of fighter, especially when they put him in there with some guy that's similar to him. I would say Tuivasa was more seasoned and more of a complete fightir, even though he's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And that guy works his jiu-jitsu and the takedown defense. I think he needs to change possibly his whole training camp. He has good stand-up. He's a strong dude, but that's the second back-to-back knockout for him. And, obviously, if he gets knocked out one more time, that's 3 knockouts in a row.
Yeah.
He might get cut. You're absolutely right. I think he needs to change that training camp. I think he needs a big layoff. And I think he needs to reassess everything that he's doing and where he needs to improve for him to be able to get to that next level, because I thought that was a big jump. Hardy fought Volkov. I think it was one of the last guys he fought, and it was a 5-rounder, and he did great. Volkov's a huge guy. He's a 6'11" guy, long guy, and he lost the fight all 5 rounds. But, I mean, that guy is a whole nother big step above where he's at. So fighting Tuivasa, I think that he focused too much on, I'm going to be a search and destroy type of fighter because so is this guy. And I'm a bigger guy, and I probably have more power. But Tuivasa showed he was a more technical striker.
Yeah, and then what happens when he gets to somebody that's a more technical striker than they are and has just as much, if not more, knockout power than you, and a guy like Derek Lewis or Francis Ngannou? I mean, he'll never even get the chance to grace the ring with those two guys.
Nah, hell no.
Mm-mm.
Hell no.
Mm-mm.
And even if you think about it like this, like his game is not built to knock guys like that out. Because those guys are way too fast. They're way too agile. They're going to be able to move side to side. And their striking is, if not equal, better than anything that Greg Hardy can offer.
But they're actual fighters. He's a football player.
He's a football
player who wants to
be that guy.
Like, yeah, basically channel his
You're
rage
not that
and his
guy.
anger
Trust me.
through this. And it's like, buddy, you're not that guy.
Buddy, you're not that guy.
All right, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. But let's jump into probably for me the most exciting fight of the evening. That was the Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight. Gilbert won via decision. He improves to 20-4. Probably the end of Wonderboy in the UFC, and that's kind of sucks to say that, but this loss, his age, doesn't bode well for him. For Gilbert, it's great because he's on the rise. Yep. And I want to get you guys' opinion on his call out.
Great bounce back win after that tough loss to Usman.
For sure, but now he calls out Masvidal. Like, is he trying to get paid, or does he think that Masvidal is like on the down like spiral and can get an easy W, get some fame, and build that shit up to fight the champ?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I'll say this. I'll say Gilbert Burns definitely put in the work, and he definitely won that fight. Thompson was a little one-dimensional. He really has one threat, right? And it's the striking. There's not much more after that. So as long as you neutralize that striking, it's going to put you in a position where what else you got, right?
Right.
I think with Gilbert Burns, I think, he's probably looking for a payday. I don't think he would think Masvidal's on the way down. I read on a forum that Masvidal's going to be fighting Colby Covington, I think, in September. And then I also read that he was going to fight Leon Edwards. So, the way that I compare that fight, the way that I analyze that fight was very similar to the Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nate Diaz basically got punched in the face for 4.5 rounds. And listen, the guy still did great. He was still in there the whole entire time. But in those last 30 seconds that he landed that one power, that Stockton slap with the left hand down the pipe, and he almost knocked him out. Basically, what that one punch did right there was take away that title shot from Leon Edwards, in my opinion.
For sure.
That's crazy.
For sure.
That's what I got. That's what I got out of that fight.
Because people thought that Leon was frail to begin with.
Right.
You know, they didn't think he was like a serious contender at that weight division to take on bigger strikers like Nate Diaz, Masvidal, and shit like that. And even a Usman, because Usman knocked out Masvidal. So obviously there's power in the champ's hand, and there's power in Gilbert Burns' hands. There's power in Masvidal's hands. So all those type of contenders really got knockout power in that division. I never thought that Leon Edwards was one of those guys.
Definitely agree with that. I think that what we saw in that fight is, you know, Gilbert Burns definitely faced adversity there. But I really wish that he would have got the finish or just, you know, maybe not so much of a close second round, more of a full decisive win, because then he can make the case and say, you know, I do want to fight Masvidal and I do want to fight, you know, Usman again. Typically it'll take you one or two fights unless you got that star power that, you know, you win one fight and you get the title shot.
Right.
For some of these guys that are not a big draw, you know, it's kind of hard for them to get one win and get back in it. You know, they gotta. I think that he was smart in calling out Masvidal, because if you beat Masvidal, then you really, there's no other case but then to fight, you know, the champ. Same thing for Leon Edwards. You know, he already fought Usman. He already lost to Usman, and that's what kind of hurt him a little bit in that Nate Diaz fight. Is, you know, if he would have finished it, or if he would have decisively won, or maybe not even get caught with that left, would have been a different trajectory for him in his career for sure.
So what about Gilbert Burns then? If he does get his fight against Masvidal and Masvidal rocks him, what does that say about Gilbert Burns?
He can't be a champ. You can't be a champ.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not to say that he's not a good fighter. All those cats are good fighters, obviously. But to be the champ, obviously, at this point right now, you got to be as equal to Usman or even better. And that just doesn't exist. He's probably pound for pound best fighter in the UFC, best fighter in fucking MMA. Let's keep it blunt. You know?
That's tough. We could argue. We can sit here and argue all day on who do we think is
Bro,
better.
he's in a weight class where he can
killers.
go up or down and technically still hang with the best of the best.
Right.
That's some next level shit, you know? That's some real next level shit. All right, let's get into something that everybody wants to hear about. So I had Conor winning by second round knockout. You had Dustin winning by third round
Or
knockout,
better, yeah.
or better, right? Jesse, what did you have the fight before it took place?
You know, I had the same prediction as you. I had a second round TKO McGregor.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't even get to see a second round between the two guys because Conor had that weird, gruesome fucking break of an ankle towards the end of the second round. He survived the last 6 seconds of it. But obviously the doctor called a stoppage to the fight when he saw that McGregor couldn't get up and it was broken. Now, the question that I had myself as soon as that shit broke was like, damn, obviously DP won the first round, so credit to him, right? We don't know if he broke Conor's ankle or if he fractured it with a check or whatever it could have been, but he ended up winning the fight, right? He ended up winning the fight. But for Conor, does that mean that you got to fight Dustin again? Does that mean that you're going to have to scrap a nobody or somebody who's, again, trying to make a name for themselves now in the UFC? Because the champ is not going to want to fight him. Even though it's probably his biggest payday, he's not going to go through that mission to make money and possibly lose the belt, where he can keep the belt and make bigger pay-per-view contracts eventually. Now, for me, it sucks because Dustin deserves to be the number one contender and to fight for the belt, and he deserves that, right? Because he beat Conor twice, straight up. But now everybody's going to question whether he could have beaten Conor straight up. There's questions about how the fight ended. We saw the bad blood between them in the ring when the fight was over. It just, for me, I just feel like it left a lot of questions, bro, not a lot of answers.
No, you're absolutely right, and it does suck, the way that it ended. because of the fact, obviously, I said that Dustin was going to win. If McGregor won, was I going to be upset? No. I just going off of recent history where I've seen McGregor in his career, where Poirier is in his, based off their last fight, I was like, this is Dustin's fight to win. You know what I mean? That's his favorite. He's the favorite in my eyes to win this fight, and it just sucks that it goes down this way because, like you said, it leaves just so many questions unanswered, and then people are going to be like, well, Conor deserves another shot, and if I'm Dustin, I'm like, why would I give this guy another shot? He lost to Khabib. I've beat him twice. He does whatever he wants. Like, he doesn't respect the sport anymore. He comes in with our first fight being all friendly and stuff, acting like he's my friend. And then now, after I beat him, now he wants to turn tough guy and go back to the old way he was. He's not going to get in my head. So he doesn't owe him another fight, in my opinion. I think that's solely, based on just the numbers at that point. Hey, you know what? We're going to give you $5 million or whatever a lucrative number is to fight Conor McGregor again. But he doesn't owe it to him, in my opinion. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a complicated situation. I think that right after the fight, what we got is we didn't get any closure in that trilogy, right? There was no closure.
Right.
As a fan, you want to see a knockout, a submission, or a 5-round brutal beatdown on either side. It doesn't matter who it is. You just want to see a competitive fight. I honestly, as a fan, I think Poirier is going to fight for the belt probably in December against Oliveira, and maybe Conor returns 2022, maybe summer, something like that, after he goes through a training camp. But I don't think he would get an immediate shot at Poirier, whether he wins the belt or not. I mean, you never know. He's a big star. They might try to play it that way, but I think that he needs to fight somebody in the top 5, whether a Justin Gaethje or you got Beneil Dariush. Another fantastic guy on a nice long winning streak, not a big name, maybe somebody that matches up really well, good striker. He needs to get in there and he needs to get some momentum. He needs to get a win before he fights Poirier.
Big time. He needs a win in the worst way, not only to as a fighter, to keep the fans interested, but B, as a businessman too, because it's bad for his brand if he's not fucking winning. Like, yeah, you could be a famous name all you want, but eventually people will start to forget because it's like, oh, you're the guy who lost 4 straight UFC fights. You're going to be the guy who lost 6 straight UFC fights. Nobody cares about what you're talking about because nobody believes you because you haven't had the results.
This is his 4th professional loss in a row, correct? Including the
Mayweather.
I throw in the Mayweather. That was a professional
right,
fight.
I guess.
He boxed. He got he got a license or whatever in the state to box and all that. So this is 4 professional losses in a row, man. And even though one of them didn't really count towards the sport you're in, I mean that has to take a mental toll on you too. Plus all these other ones. So it doesn't look. McGregor's future doesn't look. And as far as the UFC career, it doesn't look bright.
Nah, he's got a lot of bad things going on for him.
Hey, one thing worth mentioning, the only win that McGregor has in the lightweight division was against Eddie Alvarez when he got the belt. He has not won another fight since. It was when he fought Cerrone at 170.
Yep.
And he's lost to Poirier 2 times, and he lost to Khabib. So really, that last win that he got in lightweight was 2015, 6 years ago,
bro. 6 years.
That's ridiculous.
I'm telling you, the star is losing its luster, for sure. And even the most common UFC sports fan that checks out a UFC event now and then, they're like, "Oh, Conor, yeah, I guess I'll watch it," because he's not winning. You can't win and keep taking losses and talking all that shit, because then, like I said, nobody believes your spiel, nobody believes your act, and even the fighters that you can potentially get into the ring with, they don't want to go into the ring because fuck the money, you're just not worth the headache or the potential for a loss on a record. Like, it's not even worth it.
Is he still under contract, Jesse, with UFC for any more fights after this one?
Yeah. So when he fought Cerrone, he had, I think, 7 fights left after that because he signed the 8-fight contract with the UFC. So he should have, 5+ fights left. He planned to fight 3 times this year. That was kind of his 2021 season. That's going to be
happening.
Yeah, that's out the door. But
that's out the door.
He's out for at least a year with that.
You know what could possibly be a fight, Jesse? And I'm curious to see what your thoughts would be on it. We saw that prior to the fight on Saturday, I think it was either Friday afternoon, he walked in and got by Rafael Dos Anjos, and they kind of had that back and forth and shit, and they were talking some trash to each other because he said that he took the needle or whatever. And I'm sure that would be a fight that would interest both of them. And I think that that's the type of fight that Conor would have to make as a comeback fight, because it's not going to be against top tier talent. It's not going to be against somebody who's number 2, number 3 in the division or anything like that. He's going to have to build his way back up. So I'm curious to see what you would think about that fight, a potential fight between Dos Anjos and McGregor.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. I think that'd be perfect for him to come back. I know that when he was slated to fight RDA, back I think right before his fight with Nate Diaz, that's one of the reasons he took that Nate Diaz fight was because RDA broke his leg.
Right.
And I remember thinking, this is going to be a tough fight for him. This is somebody that was the champ at 155. He's a solid guy. He's been training for such a long time. He's a legend. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And you want 2 big stars like that. That guy's a huge Brazilian star. He's headlined it on countless cards. I think that would be a good comeback fight for him. But to be quite honest, I'd be terrified for McGregor if he fought him because, guy is.
It's not a joke, dog.
He is a guy that will take you down and drown you. And I've seen him do it his whole career. And I think that, McGregor done, historically well against wrestlers, right? He's fought, Eddie Alvarez a little bit smaller than him. He had Chad Mendes at the, he's been fighting and wrestling his own entire life. So, but when you're talking about a guy that's just as big as you and has the same type of reach as you, but his wrestling is better.
10 times better, bro.
It's going to be the classic striker versus, wrestler.
Right.
I would definitely pay to see that fight, and I think a lot of people would as well.
Yeah, I think that would be the most interesting fight that Conor could make, because we all know that Dustin's going to fight Oliveira for the belt at some point later on this year. You said, I believe, December, so that would be something to look forward to, bro. And maybe we can have you back on when that fight is about to pop off.
Back in the studio next time we do one of these. What's the next UFC we're looking forward to, Jess?
Hey, I'm a big Masvidal fan, so I really want to see, if Masvidal ends up fighting Leon Edwards or Colby Covington. There's bad blood there. Yeah. And anytime there's bad blood, we want to watch, right? We want to see
facts.
Who wins. I think that the last fight we had that way that was, there was a lot of bad blood was that Usman Colby Covington fight. So I mean, look, I would love to see Usman and Covington too. I think Covington gave him the best run for his money. I think that's a huge fight to make. I would love to see that fight. And that Leon Edwards and Masvidal fight.
That's interesting.
Will come out the box. Maybe even put them all in the same card and main event and co-main event. I think that would be great.
That would be cool. If they were able to get like on the Volkanovski versus Ortega fight, that shit would be cool, right? To stack that card. That shit would be badass.
That'd be dope. Hey, Jess, thanks again, bro.
We really appreciate you, bro.
It.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I look forward to being back on with you guys. Hopefully next time I'll physically be present and maybe have an old fashioned or something.
I like that.
We do like to drink on this podcast.
Every now and then.
That's possible, bro.
Every now and then.
Thanks again, my man. I'll hit you up later, doggy.
Be safe, doggy.
Awesome, guys. Steven, Joel, thank you guys again, man. Appreciate it.
You got it, brother.
Later.
Hey, guys. Bye.
Well, that was the homie Jesse, man, and he had a lot of good insight on the UFC fights and shit. Obviously, we knew that he's really interested in UFC, and he's obviously one of the guys that we can rely on for some extra knowledge.
The boy knows his stuff, bro. He tells me some deep cuts on UFC sometimes, and I'm like, bro, where did you even read that? Like,
were you in the gym or something?
Yeah, like it's stuff that like you got to be in the guy's like training camp to know, and it's like, just where did you even hear that? Like. I hit him up for picks. Like, yo, how you feel about this?
Real quick, I got this guy on DraftKings.
Bro,
what's up?
He's really good. Like, he'll know about those sometimes that it's like one of those, like somebody's a stand-in and has no shot. And he'll be like, bro, bet the house on this. And you're like, really, bro? This undercard fight that nobody knows? And he's like, bro. Do it. And sure enough, almost every time, bro, he's really good at that. So shout out to the homie.
For sure.
Thanks again. But, dude, we got a lot to get into.
We got a lot, man. And just to mention, like, while we're recording this, we're keeping an eye on the All-Star Games activities. We got the Home Run Derby tonight. We got the Japanese. He's Japanese, right?
Who's
Ohtani?
Ohtani, yeah.
The Japanese sensation.
Shohei Ohtani.
Versus Juan Soto.
The favorite.
Yeah, he's the favorite. Salvador Perez is in it. Pete Alonso. My pick, Joey Gallo, is in it. Trevor Story's in it. Matt Olson.
Where's Vlad? Is Vlad playing? Is Vlad in the Home Run Derby this year? No, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's disappointing.
I mean, but look, a lot of people understand why, because that
I
shit
get
can
it.
mess up your swing.
I totally
and
get
he's
it.
too young
But
to mess up.
He's
that
one of the
swing.
most exciting
I
players
feel
to
you.
see in that.
Paid to see him bat in a regular game, though.
Yeah, but no, it's
just
good
like
to
that
see-
Tatis. You want to see that Tatis bat? Pay the ticket price and go see this guy bat, dog,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be worth it. And but as you guys are hearing the episode tonight, just want to mention that our boy T-Rod Trevor Rogers, he's gonna be pitching hopefully at some point. So make sure you guys are tuned in at 7:30. The All-Star game is being held in Coors Field this year in Denver, Colorado, which is obviously a dope stadium. Marlins have some good history there, and yeah, man, it's gonna be a dope event as always. There's not a lot going on. There's no basketball that night, so
Well, quick Marlins update from last week's episode to this week. We actually, after last week's show, we kind of went on a little tear.
Yeah.
We won a couple games back to back against. I know the series after was against the Braves. I'm pretty sure, and they ended up taking us on a couple of those games. But we won the series. As SoSo pulls it up right here. I can't remember. I think we won 3 out of 4 of those games.
No, we lost the series against Atlanta. We won the previous series against.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
the,
I know.
the Dodgers.
That's what I said.
I fought for.
So yeah, it was against the Dodgers. They were over here while Drake was having date night on their baseball field. We took them 3 out of those 4 games. We ended up beating them.
Yeah.
So we kind of put a stop to the Dodgers a little bit, but then our confidence was
We're back to it.
brought back down to the real world.
39 and
against the
50
Braves.
though. 39 and 50. Layman games below 500.
We're last in our division.
Last in the division. Kind of the spot where we thought we would be, but again, like I've pointed to earlier in the podcast and on other numerous occasions, the talent is there individually. We've seen it. Like Pablo Lopez just did that.
Hold on,
ridiculous. Hit the horn for my dog. My man, Pablo
Shout
Lopez, bro.
out.
Shout out to you. In case you don't know, he had 9 straight strikeouts
Major
to start the
league
game,
record.
which is a major league record. Every batter that he faced in those 9 spots got a K. Nasty. That's the type of talent that I'm like, shit.
It's coming.
I'm glad that I watched this because I want to be there in the beginning when I can look back and be like, yo, remember when Pablo Lopez and remember when Trevor Rogers were coming up in the year 2021, and look back on that and be like, yo, these are the moves that really paid off for the Marlins. And this kid is obviously showing that he has major league talent. Guy's nasty. Shout out to you, Pablo, man. Keep it going, bro.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, little glimmers of hope. We're seeing big bats on certain nights. We're seeing pitching is starting to come together on certain nights. Now it's just a matter of getting it all figured out. And yeah, it's 11 games. We're last in the division, but here's the All-Star break, and we get a nice little reset. We got.
We start on the road again. Surprise.
Yeah.
We got a 4-game series against the Phillies. Follow that up with another 3-game series against Washington before we bring it back home against San Diego and then hit the road again.
Which is, if I had to guess the Marlins' strength of schedule, we're probably one of the hardest schedules in the major leagues.
Hurricane fans know all about strength of schedule.
It's ridiculous.
And how we get tried with that.
But it's fine because if we want to, compete with the best, we got to beat the best. You know what I mean? So, that's perfectly fine, especially in a year like this where we're still trying to find ourselves.
Right.
I'm totally okay with that. I just hope that we don't get swept in all of these series.
Nah, man. I really think that the second half, it's going to be great for the Marlins for 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of the players that we rely on get to actually take a break and recover, take care of some injuries, relax a hammy, whatever's bothering them, the ankle, whatever. Get some rest, get ready to start that second half of the season because it could lead to a potential push, right? So you have to get focused mentally. How do you do that? You let the body recover. So those 2 things are really going to be helpful for the Marlins on their journey, which is the second half of the season. And being on the road and actually being able to get some wins on the road is going to be very important. So I'm kind of curious to see how they get started against Philadelphia and Washington. Winnable teams. We can beat these teams. They're not world beaters. We can beat these guys, and we've shown that here and there. But as you and I have spoken about plenty of times, we know that the trick to this all is winning the series. So if they can get 3 out of these 4 games to start the season or to start the second half of the season, man, we'll be in a good spot. And
starting off on the right track if we could do that.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how it happens, but we're gonna tune into the All-Star game and put it in the background for our entertainment. Hopefully, you guys are doing the same with the All-Star game tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the finals, man. The Bucks, they win Game 3, 120-100, beat Phoenix, and Giannis has his second 40-plus point game in a row.
He's proving the haters wrong.
He's proving the haters wrong.
He's proving me wrong.
Including SoSo, right?
Us.
Shit.
You know, we've kind of haven't given him his credit. You know, he's a former MVP of the league, right?
But do you think he's performing now because of the criticism or because of the he recognizes that, hey, this could be my only shot to do something?
I think it could be a little bit of the both. I mean, if you're a professional athlete, you shouldn't let criticism like that, you know, especially a peak, you know, one of these guys at the top, right? You shouldn't let those kinds of things affect you, like the media and fans and whatever anybody else has to say that's not on your team fighting towards the same goal.
Those outside voices.
Exactly. You got to shut that shit out. But it could have to do with that. But I think it's more so what you brought up in the second half of that, which is, you know, is this the one moment? And yeah, that he's playing right now as if this is going to be his only shot in the finals. And that's the exact way that every player who reaches the finals the first time should approach it. You shouldn't take it for granted. You shouldn't say, you know what, you know, my ankle hurts a little bit, you know, let me get some time off. Let me sit down on the bench. Like, no, dude, you're in the NBA finals. There's 30 other teams that tried to get there and failed. You had to beat all of them. And this is your last shot. You're down 2-0 back against the wall.
If you lose this game, you know what's up.
What are you made of?
Yeah, straight up.
And he showed us.
Yeah. No, he definitely showed us and the rest of the NBA world. He put them on notice to be like, yeah, there's other ballers, but don't forget about me because I'm the reason this team is here. And we've talked about it before, how Chris Middleton had better moments leading up to the finals or their playoff run. But I feel like once Giannis knew that the doctor cleared him and was like, hey, you're straight. You can go out and play basketball. He was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to figure it out. And that first game against Phoenix, he kind of was hesitant, but he still scored 32 points, and they took a loss. He came back the next night with a 40-point performance. They still lose, and then he cranks it up to score 40 again, almost has a triple-double. And, bro, he's just elevating that team right now. Now, do I believe he can continue at this pace and this like workload? I doubt it, bro, because that shit takes a toll on the healthiest of players. And right now, he's not the healthiest of players. So I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on for the rest of the series in order to make that impact.
I think he did what he needed to do, you know, right now. Now, next game, it's going to be on, you know, the rest of the gang. It's Middleton and company, you know. Cause
Drew Holiday showed up.
They did all right. You know, Giannis obviously led the way with 41 points. You got Chris Middleton, who had 18. He actually had a pretty good stat line. He was 18, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Holiday, to your point, 21 points. Bobby Portis only had 11, though. Brook Lopez had 11. You know, next game, these guys got to just put up a couple more boards. A couple more means that Giannis doesn't have to take an extra foul or two or whatever, or get hurt, put his body at risk. And that's really going to make the difference. As far as for the Suns, Booker needs to step it up.
He needs to wake up.
He was lackluster last night.
I take that back. He doesn't need to wake up because he had a really good game too.
He did.
And
but that doesn't mean you can call in sick game 3, bro.
No. You have to show up every game in the finals. You have to show up every game in the finals. Even if it's, again, resulting in a loss. You have to be able to look at yourself and your teammates and be like, all right, I gave my best effort tonight. We didn't win, but I can give my best effort tomorrow night and us win again. And, you know, and bounce back. If he doesn't wake up to realize, hey, I got to win one game on the road. Because I know Chris Paul and Monty Williams definitely have that on the back of their mind where they're like, well, shit, we need to get this game 4 on Wednesday night and really put ourselves in a position where we don't have to worry about going into a back and forth battle for this championship. The pressure's really on Phoenix to win game 4 because you don't want to go back to Phoenix tied 2-2. With Giannis having all the momentum, him dropping possibly another 40-point game on you, which would be a ridiculous record that I only think Michael Jordan has and shit, having 40-point games in the finals. Like, this dude is on another level right now. So Phoenix literally has to knock this guy out and win game 4 to solidify them really having a good chance of winning the championship. Because if it goes back and forth, where it's like 5, 6, 7, and it's a best of 3, I don't doubt that Giannis can get crazy and win a game in Phoenix, whether it's game 5 or game 7. I don't doubt that he can do that.
If he stays healthy.
He's healthy, bro. There is no if he stays healthy. He is healthy as he can be. Because the doctor gave him the clearance, said, nothing's broken, Papa. Go forward, be strong. And he's playing like it. He's not looking hesitant with any type of his movement. He doesn't look afraid to attack the rim. He doesn't look afraid to go up for a rebound or like bang and dunk. He had like 6 dunks in that game where he was coming off an offensive rebound and going right back up with it to slam it home. That's shit that you do when you're fully healthy, or at least confident in your body to say it's normal.
Yeah, my point is, this next game, Game 4, Wednesday night, anything can happen. Anything can happen. First couple minutes, I'm not saying it to jinx him, but he can go down at any point in the game. And if he goes down,
that sounds like a jinx.
I'm knocking on wood. But if he goes down, that'll change the entire series for
sure.
the Bucks.
For sure. And look, we can point to any injury.
If he's healthy.
Right? We can point to Chris Paul's injury too. If his shoulder gets messed up, he can take a big hit and he can potentially be out for some time, which would definitely mess up with the Phoenix rhythm in this finals. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a must win for both teams.
No, absolutely.
Right?
At this point,
both teams have to win Game 4. They have to. You can look at every single reason and be like, "Yep, that's a good reason for them to win Game 4." I don't know, man. What do you got?
I think Chris Paul, because he's been there before in that 3-1 situation.
I think he's gonna win too,
and he's lost. I think he doesn't want to be in that predicament where he's like, oh shit, we just let them tie up the series now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? No, I wanna just go ahead and clamp down right now and tighten up and just beat these guys these next 2 games. They got one. That's all they're gonna get.
I think so too.
And I hope that's what he does, man. I
think so
that's
too.
What he does.
Who
do I got as far as what this next game on Wednesday night?
Yeah.
I got the Suns, man. I got the Suns winning it.
Me too, bro.
Let's rock.
I got the Suns going in there and having that game that they have to win. That way they can comfortably go back home, win Game 5, and be like, "This is a wrap, boys.
Yep.
Let's call the end to the season."
And before we get off this basketball talk,
I
wanted to talk to you about
the predicament.
What predicament are you speaking of?
The predicament that Team USA has.
Oh my goodness, dude! Did
versus
you see
Nigeria?
That embarrassment? That embarrassment. Now, shout out to Nigeria though.
Shout out to the Heat.
Baby shout out Nigeria because they had 3 Heat players on that team, including Precious Achua.
Yep.
They had KZ Okpala.
Yep.
And they had Gabe Vincent. 3 Heat players.
3 Nigerians, bro.
And they took down the Team USA basketball team, dude.
And
how embarrassing!
My favorite part of that was the tweet that came from the Nigerian basketball team handle, giving Bam the shit like, "Yo, this could have been you, bro. You could have been in a different jersey out here balling." And it was just impressive to see that team play with hustle, right? And that's how you fucking win basketball. You win basketball with hustle. Yeah, you could be talented, but sometimes you're gonna be off. And if you don't have that cohesion of playing together all the time, then you're gonna be off, and you're gonna lose the hustle. And then the coolest shit for me personally was the block that Precious had on fucking KD.
That was nasty. That was like a reverse poster.
Block.
Like, what's the opposite of a poster? I don't even know.
I'm gonna send a frame. I'm gonna send a picture of you. This shit was painted in oil.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there you go. Portrait.
It's a fucking 3x6. You need to hang this in your living room, bro, KD. I'm sending it to you.
Beautiful, dude.
It was a great
I feel like it didn't get enough love from like social media and everything. Like,
it's probably because it's Precious and they don't know about.
They don't
my
really
dog.
know about him like that.
They don't know about my dog.
Something else that stood out to me after that whole thing went down is there's a photo circulating of obviously the 3 players we just mentioned and Bam Adebayo, who was also Miami Heat, and they're all together taking a picture. And there's a person lurking in the background, kind of glancing and gazing over at them, like he's almost like,
I wish I could be a part of that.
He looks like, damn, I wish I could be a part of that. And this individual happens to be one of the players we've been talking about that we would love to have on our team. And
you gonna name drop him or what?
Dame Lillard.
Oh, Dame Dollar.
What'd you think about that picture?
I thought the picture was cool, right? Because obviously the Heat are represented in that picture,
right?
Man, people can make the most out of the smallest thing. I don't know if Dame. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Hey, bro, let me dream.
You think Dame? You, the guy who took that picture, probably looked and was like, "Got him."
Oh my goodness!
I got his ass in the corner. Look at Dame looking at these Heat play. I'm gonna blow it up right now. Hey, I need that 100K.
Like a split second too. Like he was talking to somebody and then he shouted out, "Yo, Dame!" And he looked over and like snapped.
Boom, got him. So yeah, I don't make too much of it. I'm not going to make too much of it until I hear some type of rumblings, right, from Dame's camp. And it's not even going to come from Dame, right, because he already said, like, I'm not talking no more after the whole debacle with the coach and shit. He's like, I'm not talking no more. So obviously nothing's going to come out of his mouth. It has to come within his camp. Something has to leak out where it's like, hey, Dame has privately asked Portland about some trade possibilities. That's the only way I'm gonna start getting my hope
All
up.
right, all right. We'll revisit that when we get a little bit more
man.
grip
Don't
on
be-
the rumors.
I don't need that roller coaster right now, dog. I was already on a roller coaster this past Saturday, dog, with the fucking Argentina game versus Brazil.
Oh my goodness, soccer,
Dude.
soccer,
Dude,
football as they call it. What a weekend
yeah.
for football.
what a weekend for football. Honestly, with the Copa America final on Saturday and
Yep.
the Euro final on Sunday, that's a soccer fan heaven weekend right there, bro.
It
It's
was
like, hey guys, I'm not doing nothing. I'm staying home with my beers, or I'm going out to drink with my friends, and see you guys later.
It was a busy weekend for sports.
Hell
dude.
yeah.
There was a lot going on.
Dude, when we pulled up to Grails, it was packed
Yeah.
because people were watching the Brazil game,
Yep.
and we saw how like the reaction was when Argentina ended up winning, and we saw all the Messi fans. I'm not gonna say the Argentinian fans. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
the
all the
Messi
Messi fans, right? Get crazy and start acting out and having a good time. It was really dope to see him win something because for his country,
Right.
because of all the shit that he's had to deal with, because of all the drama that surrounded the national team in Argentina and them losing tournaments and this and that. He deserves it. He deserves it because of who he is, how he's played the game, how he's been an ambassador for the game, and really has represented himself and what his brand is about and his nation in the proper way. Never had an issue, never had a problem, nothing like that, right? At least big issues. It was really cool to see that, but it sucked because as Argentina was winning and Brazil's losing, I'm having a hard time looking at my wife.
Oh, I know.
And when you and I both saw it, we were like, damn, this is going to suck for the next 20 minutes for her, you know?
I felt so bad. You could just see the disappointment in her face. And shout out to Laishi.
Yeah, for sure. She's a trooper,
She's
dog.
a trooper. She took it, like a champ.
She took it way better than the dude at the bar. I don't know if you noticed. That guy in the Brazilian jersey, yo, he took 3 straight shots. He was like, you know what? Hey, I just took this loss. I'm not going anywhere. Bring 3 straight shots. And
She had a couple of drinks too.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
maybe she was hiding it that way.
For sure. Every Brazil fan was. But soccer won that day. The ultimate goal was soccer won that day because we saw, again, Ronaldo had won the Euros. He's never won the World Cup. Messi had never won the World Cup, never won anything for Argentina or major trophy. And he finally got his on Saturday. So I couldn't be mad. As a soccer fan, it's good to see storylines like that happen.
Yep.
You know. And other interesting storyline was from Sunday where England got the better of Italy in the first half. They scored 1-0. Italy early.
Early
It
on.
was like in the 5th minute or something like that, 6th minute. Luke Shaw got the goal for England. And then Italy bounces back. Chiellini gets the goal to equalize off of a blocked kick and a block pass. And then it happens to land right in front of him. And boom, he was able to
Shovels
slot it
right
in.
there, yeah. And the goalie didn't have enough time.
And that was clutch because Italy had been pushing that whole second half, pushing that whole second half to equalize. And once they got it, you can tell that their confidence level went through the roof. Like if somebody turned the volume up, bro.
You want to know something though?
Yeah.
After that first goal that England scored, as soon as they scored that goal, they took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And they were playing a lot more like, oh, we have the lead. Let's just sit back here and drink tea and just
protect.
Like work on our accents. Like they were just like, what do you do? Like attack. Just because you're up 1-0, like don't stop being the aggressor in this. Get in there, get after it. Let's see something. And there was a lot of time where that ball was just being kicked around in the backfield.
Yep.
And they were just kind of wait. And then Italy saw what was going on, and they knew that all it took was just one goal to get them back in it, and that's what happened.
And you're right, Joel. Like playing defensively for long periods of time, an entire game, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, that's just gonna cost you. And you're gonna get scored on. It's just the law of the game. When all you do is defend, you're gonna get scored on. And it happened. And once Italy scored, it's like you mentioned, they freaking put their foot on the gas pedal and broke through the floor because they just revved it up for even the extra time. They kept pushing, looking for the goal, where England was looking very reserved, playing very on their back heels and stuff like that. And then once they got to penalties, you could tell that England did not want any of that. And there was a lot of criticism of the manager for England, Gareth Southgate, because of who he picked to take the penalty kicks. He made 3 substitutions towards the end of the extra time. He brought in Marcus Rashford, he brought in Saka, and he brought in what's the other guy's name? Damn it. He brought in Jack Grealish. I'm trying to figure it out. What's the guy's name?
I'm sorry, man. I can't help you out there. I can look it up for you, though, if you like.
No. It's cool. I got it right here. got it right here. Sancho. So he brings in. I'm telling you, bro. This guy has. So Jordan Sancho is a player for Borussia Dortmund, but he's going to Manchester United. Rashford plays for Manchester United. Harry Maguire plays for Manchester United. So he went with a weird set of penalty kickers, right? Italy put their best of the best. They had their strikers and they had their best penalty kickers. They had Berardi, they had Belotti, Bonucci took it, Bernacchi took one, and Jorginho took his.
Bro, all those names sound delicious. They sound like desserts that I would like to eat.
But my point is, all those guys take penalty kicks. You know, they especially Jorginho. He's the last one who took it. Yeah, he's got blocked, but he takes penalties for Chelsea. He takes penalties for Italy. He's their best penalty taker. So everybody that I mentioned for Italy does take penalties. On the England side, Harry Maguire really doesn't take penalties. You know, Marcus Rashford rarely takes penalties. Jordan Sancho hardly ever takes penalties. Even the kid who took the last one, Bukayaku.
The kid's like 19, isn't he?
He's a baby. He doesn't really take penalties.
He was the last one, right? He was the anchor.
Yeah, and
I feel so bad for that kid.
I felt bad for him too because again, the coach put him in a bad spot. Where it's like, hey, go out there, be the anchor. Biggest game of your life, biggest stage where you haven't even played for an hour.
Put a grown ass man in that spot, man.
Nah, just put somebody there with experience. Somebody who feels like it could be a 19-year-old, right? But at least the kid has taken 100 penalties for his team, for his national team, like an Errol Haaland, right? The tall Norwegian kid. If there's a penalty, or Mbappe, if there's a penalty kick, and Mbappe got his shit blocked in the Euros. But,
yeah, we saw that.
But even still, you put those guys in the position to be
you're
like,
fine
I trust
with Mbappe
you.
doing that.
I
like,
trust
he does that,
you.
and you're like, all right.
If you miss, that's the one in the rest of the 99.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. But this kid Saka, man, again, he doesn't take the PKs. Sancho doesn't take his PKs. Rashford takes them occasionally, not enough to solidify that. And what ended up happening is, obviously, all three of those guys got their penalty blocked, except for Marcus Rashford. He actually beat the goalie, but he ended up hitting the post.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That shit was terrible. And then what I didn't like was the backlash that some of the England players were giving, like, the decision on who took penalty kicks, right? It was like, oh, I wanted to take the kick, and well, if you wanted to take the kick, you should have stepped up. Because everybody who wanted to take the kick for Italy was like,
put me in there.
Hey, put me in there. Literally up to the coach. The coach was like, well, guys, he's like, hey, put me in there, coach. And guys from England were like, yeah, maybe, if you want to throw me in there, I will. And then after the fact, a lot of them came out and said, oh, I should have took the power. I probably could have made a penalty. That's whack. That shit is whack. Just like the backlash that Marcus Rashford, he got a lot of racism, abuse, and shit like that in England. He had a mural defaced and stuff like that. Where and this kid has done wonders for that England community, wonders for Manchester community, where he's provided food to people who don't have a bunch of COVID relief and stuff like that. For them to hit him with that backlash just for missing a penalty kick,
that's because they're all hooligans over there, bro.
Yeah, man, that shit's whack. Shit like that is whack.
And those guys are hooligans.
That's something that I didn't like, man.
There was fans that were beating up on like Italy fans that were like,
yeah, bro, you saw that shit,
dude, just classless, man. Like, you're worse than Philly fans.
Worse than Philly fans. And Philly fans are the worst. They're the worst. But it was really whack how some of the England fans were really behaving. People were like breaking down barricades and shit like that, trying to break into the stadium.
Classless.
That's
man.
What
they get for all that. It's coming home stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what happens. Karma has a funny way of finding its way around, bro. And it just so happened that Italy got boosted by that karma. So shout out to Italy for winning it, champs of your. And Jorginho. Shout out to Jorginho and Emerson, Chelsea players. They're double European champs.
That's crazy.
They win the freaking Champions League, and now they win the Euros in the same year.
Those guys are living life.
That type of shit doesn't happen, bro. So those guys are going to definitely be one of those quiz questions in sports from now on. Which two players won both European trophies in the same year?
I'm going to get that shit right for sure.
For sure, because now we're Chelsea fans, right?
I got you, dog.
My dog.
I got you.
That's my dog right there.
Hey, but let me ask you this. So what's next in the world of soccer? What do we have to look forward to now?
Nothing. The beginning of the season is coming up for all the leagues in August. Now we have some. Well, USA is playing in a tournament, the Gold Cup or something like that, which is basically a cup between the Southern and Northern American countries. USA should win those games because they have the best team that's out there. Granted, they're young, but they have a lot of European experience, so they should win that fairly easy. They won the other night against Mexico. They beat Haiti 2-1-0. So we see the progress in the USA men's team. They didn't even have none of their stars that play in Europe. So the rest of the squad is actually building up where they can carry or be very helpful to the star players once they come back for international duty. But for now, we're just looking forward to the beginning of the season across all the leagues, and I believe in late August, early September for most of them. And for me as a Chelsea fan, I'm just looking to see if any of the rumors actually happen. There's a lot of rumors that always happen in this time because of people, agents talking to reporters talking to friends talking to the media, and everybody's trying to figure out where the next big star is moving. And a guy I mentioned earlier, Erling Haaland, he's been rumored in and out of Chelsea a bunch of times. I know that Declan Rice has been rumored a lot in and out of Chelsea talks. And those two guys are very expensive right now. Erling Haaland is probably going to cost $120 million or pounds, whatever you want to call it. Declan Rice is going to cost over 100 million pounds, dollars, whatever you want to call it. And stuff like that, moves like that, they take time. So I don't expect none of that to happen. But if it does happen, I'm going to be very excited. And you guys are definitely going to hear about it. But if it doesn't, then I'm just going to see how the team stacks up or what moves are made in order to make a run in the Premier League. I feel like since we won the Champions League, we definitely want to focus on winning the Premier League. It's been a while since we've done that. So hopefully it happens.
I hope so too, man. What about Olympics? Is there any Olympics?
The Olympics is coming up. The Olympics is coming up, and there's Olympic soccer, but I don't think the men's team made it. The USA men's team made it.
Oh God, come on, man. Dude.
Hey, but that's what happens when you don't play your best players, bro.
Yeah, that's
you get embarrassed.
Right. Yeah, but even when we play our best players, we still lose to Nigeria.
Hey.
Wrong sport, I'm sorry.
Wrong sport, bro.
Upset.
But I feel you. Hey, at least our Heat players were on that squad.
Yeah, that's true. That's the one good thing to look forward to.
But you know what? Before we wrap up the show, dog, let's talk a little bit about the British Open, man.
Oh, yeah. It's that time, baby. The fourth major in golf this week right here.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited, man. It's definitely fun. They, it got postponed last year due to the pandemic, but they're kicking off Thursday at Royal St. George's. It's
the famous Royal St. George's.
All those courses over there are historic and famous. I mean, that's where the birth of golf was over there in Europe. So it's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be action-packed weekend. Obviously, it's a major, so I'm going to be definitely all over it. Shout out Miami Golf Pros if you want to follow me.
Follow that right now.
I'll be, commentating on that and things that happen throughout the week. So far going into it, some of the biggest headlines is that there's going to be some of the top players in the world aren't going to be at this tournament,
including a former champ, Zach Johnson.
Yeah, well, Zach, that's not the first guy I'm thinking about, but
you're a hater. You're a hater.
But I'm thinking of guys like our current Masters champion Hideki Matsuyama,
yes,
who will not be there. Former Masters champion Bubba Watson won't be there. You got guys like Sung Jae Im, who's not going to be there. Matt Wolf is not going to be there. There's a couple of big name guys that we would like to see, that we root for, that aren't going to be there. Some of them is COVID related. Some people coming into contact with COVID. Some other guys, some of the Korean players, they're not playing because of the fact that they're opting out to be able to play in the Olympics.
That's right. We talked about that before the show.
Golf is now an Olympic sport, so they opt out to play in that, and there's a very good reason as to why they do that.
It's a smart reason.
Yeah, and the reason being is because if you're Korean, if you're born in Korea and you're a man, you have to serve 2 years
in the military.
And the only exemption to that is if you win an Olympic medal, whether that's bronze, silver, or gold. If you win a medal, if you medal for your country, you get exempt from that. So guys like Sung Jae Im have opted out of the British Open this week to play instead in the Olympics for a shot at avoiding the military. Is that a bad way to put that?
Yeah, obviously it is. He's trying to win a medal for his country.
For his country.
Yes.
And he just so happens to not have to go.
And it has certain benefits. So golf. My man is out there trying to win, which is even better for him because it gives him extra incentive to play well. And but back to the tournament, we know that a lot of people are going to be there. Your boy Bryson is going to be in the building, and his new caddy.
Clown.
Whoever he picks from the parking lot, I feel like he's going to pull a Happy Gilmore and be like, you know what, you're fired. Hey, kid, you want to be my caddy? Let's go. You're in. And then Will's asked. And then Will's like, what? He's like, what do you mean, dog? I'm a player.
Dude, I can't caddy for you, Bryce. No.
It's talking about. He's like, no, you're fine, kid. Come on.
He's like, dude, I'm.
Could you imagine?
He just picks up his bag, like, all right, never mind.
Forget it.
But no,
there's
been a lot of Bryson drama, because like right before the tournament, the last tournament he played in, like literally like the day before or the morning of the first day or whatever, that he like just announced that they had parted ways. And since then, he's got a new caddy already, and he said that him and his old caddy are still on good terms. Even though his old caddy made he made at least $1.5 million because Bryson earned about $15 million over that time span they played together, including including his major championship and other other wins that he had. So
Here's this Christmas bonus, dog.
Yeah, I think he was just fed up with his bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much. Like, dude, spray my ball with water to resemble the dew in the morning. Like, really, Bryson? It's too early for this right now, dog.
No, or how about staying on the freaking dryer range until fucking 10 o'clock at night to watch me hit an extra 300 balls to get my swing?
This guy's like DJ Khaled out there. Another one. Like, dude, let's just go home, But he's out there. I'm not really going for him. We can get into predictions if we want to get into predictions.
I already got my pick.
I'll start off by saying the current
pick my pick. We're gonna stop this recording.
Well, I'll tell you this.
I'm gonna close all this shit.
Favorite. This might spoil it, but the current favorite is the same favorite as the last major, and that's who I picked.
Who's that?
So I don't know if you know who the last favorite. Well, think about the last major.
Oh, you did pick him. Shit. Hold on. I have my notes here, dog.
It was the hothead, the Spaniard.
Yes. The Ramonator.
That's it, bro. Rambo. Yeah, John Rahm he's the favorite for this going into it, rightfully so. He just won coming off his first major win. He is, from Spain, so he's very comfortable, in that European environment. And this is a link style course, so I think he's gonna dominate. This is just ready for him to come in there and just keep going on a tear.
Well, let's see. Maybe he used up all his special drink juice that got him into that championship. I'm gonna stick with another European, but his name is Rory.
Wow, you're gonna be disappointed, my guy.
Hey, listen.
You want me to hot take? You want a hot take?
No, I'm glad we're recording this. Go, hot take.
Rory shoots a 76 in his opening round.
I'm writing that shit down.
Write that down. I'm telling you right now. Count it. Rory McIlroy is gonna shoot 76 in his opening round of the British Open.
I can't wait until the next episode so that when it doesn't happen, my man right here is gonna look straight into that camera and go, I was wrong.
Yeah, and the only reason that's gonna happen, I'm gonna go, I was wrong. He shot a 77.
Nah, man, I feel like he can do some things. Honestly, the reason why I'm picking him is because in the last tournament that he played, right, he knew he was out of the contention for the top 5. He knew he was out. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go out here and work my game. I'm going to go out here and work some shots, work on some shit that I haven't been working on before. And he was actually able to hit a couple of nice layup shots, get him on the green a couple of, to save par and stuff like that and get birdies. I think it was him that got 4 straight birdies in a row the last time he was out. But I just feel like he's building up. And it could be that this course, which he's played a lot, obviously, being from Scotland, I think that he can do his thing.
He's from Ireland.
He's from Ireland, right? I think that he can do his thing, and this course is like laid out to what he's used to playing. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be, all right, I'm ready to kill this course. But he knows that if he gets into some trouble or if the weather changes or the wind starts to blow in a certain direction, he feels comfortable because he's played out there before. You know what I mean? As opposed to a lot of other people that may not have that experience. I'm just saying, don't count him out like that.
No, I mean, I get it. Everybody loves Rory. He's the poster child for golf, But everything you just argued would work in favor of a guy like Shane Lowry, who is the reigning Open champion,
right?
Who is, I believe he's Irish as well. He won it in Ireland when it was hosted there in 2019, 2 years ago, before the last
COVID thing.
Yeah, COVID and all that stuff. So a guy like that knows those courses, knows that style of play, really thrived in those conditions.
Those are the guys that show
happening. But frankly, with Rory, man, he's kind of at this point. Rory's kind of like McGregor to me. He's a beautiful ambassador to the sport. He's a big draw, right? He knows the right things to say.
Right.
He has a lot of fans. But
he can't win the big one.
Recently, he's just, what have you done for me lately? He just hasn't done anything to really impress me and make him a contender going into these majors like this.
All right, I'm just going to say, for the show purpose, we haven't been that great when it comes to predictions. Now, we've hit.
I don't know, dog. I think I've been pretty good.
No, you've hit once. Let's relax.
Hey,
I've been pretty good. Hey. What have you done for me lately, right?
That's it. That's it right there. I got the last one.
I hit the last one, man. That's all that matters. But we said the same shit about Phil, and we didn't give him a shot.
That was a different story.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's see what happens.
Let's see, man.
Thursday,
we'll see.
Coverage starts. Yeah, man. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a good weekend. It's gonna be a good weekend. Let's see how it goes, man. But yeah, bro. This episode is done.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, bro. Shout out to our boy Jesse, man, for joining us for the UFC 264 segment, bro.
Yep.
Damn, dog. We're flying through these episodes, bro. We just hit 500 followers, by the way, on Instagram. So we want to shout out everybody who's following us. Make sure you guys translate that into following us on social media as in general. Make sure the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, the Google Podcast, all of that is getting a subscription and a follow. Even the Twitter.
Now on YouTube.
Yes.
Now on YouTube, as you're watching us right now.
Yes.
So make sure if you are watching it, hit that subscribe button. If you are listening to us, do us a favor. Go to our YouTube channel, Sports with SoSo, and hit that subscribe button. It
Absolutely.
really helps us out.
There's nothing better than seeing me make terrible picks on your big screen TV in your living room to be like, look at this asshole getting it wrong once again.
Yep.
But it is what it is, man. But we have a lot of fun. We make our picks and we try to bring in the sports topics that people want to listen to and things that people that want to talk about and listen to. So that's what we do here, man.
That's what we do, and that's what we did at Grails.
Let's wrap.
And we're going to keep it going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So shout out to everybody. Shout out to CIC.
Shout out to CIC Miami in the building.
And what we got to tell them to do?
We got to tell them to tell a friend.
To tell another friend.
To tell another friend.
To tell another
To
friend.
tell one more friend about this dope-ass podcast that's hitting Miami, straight up about sports, covering every single thing you can mention about sports, and doing it locally. You're not going to find it anywhere else, guys. Trust me. Trust me, okay? I'm from Hialeah. You guys got to trust me. But make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast, like I said, on all streaming platforms and following us on social media. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, more importantly. And until next time, y'all,
Peace.